I'm Marjorie, I'm a BA Bedford University Honours graduate. I graduated in 2021 and I'm Dharma's sister.
My name's Hannah Walters and I'm finishing the third year of my media degree.
Hello, my name is Heidi Cook-Abbott and I'm currently on a media production course which is 3 years long.
So I'm Dharma, I'm the creator of this documentary and I'm in my final year of a 3-year length course studying media production at university.
My name is Christian Marotta. I am on the course Media Production Level 6 and I have been doing this since Level 4.
I am Marjorie Winter and I did a foundation degree as a nursing associate.
What made you go to university?
I think it was just the fear of being an adult and actually having to do stuff outside of education. I can't lie, that was pretty much, no, it wasn't just that. I loved doing media. I started it for GCSEs, I did it for 3 years at college. I loved it and I wanted to do more with it, I wanted to explore it more, so.
I actually didn't choose to go initially. I kind of just stumbled upon it. Because I was going for the media course for the level 3. But then they told me to do the level 4, which I didn't realise was a uni course. But then I spoke it through with my dad and I just went, what's the harm? It's another notch in my belt, might as well go for it.
I decided to go to university because it was deep in the middle of 2020, which was the pandemic year, and I was working at View Cinema, and I was kind of like, well, I don't know what I want to do with my life, really. And so I was like, well, what did I enjoy at school? What was I good at-ish? And what, do I think I can make into something? One email and phone call with Sean Doyle later, and I was rushed into the course, and I have not looked back since.
I was coming to the end of my level 3 in media at the college, and a teacher suggested that I carry on at the same college with the HE course, and it all worked out, so I just carried on onto a degree.
Going to university for me was a very big decision to make. I don't like change and I don't like the whole idea of moving away from home to study and being by yourself. But I really enjoyed doing media and I wasn't ready to leave education when I finished my college course 3 years ago. So doing a university course, let alone a HE course, through a college allowed me to still be in education whilst getting ready for what's next.
Looking to get qualification for the experience that I'd gained in the job that I'd been doing for about 10 or 12 years.
Did you stay local or travel, and because of this, did you stay in accommodation or stay at home?
Oh, I stayed at home the entire way. I wasn't going to put myself in even more debt for some rubbish accommodation when I could just stay at home and pay my parents minimum rent. Like, I saw no point in it.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I am local to where I study, so I'm able to use transport, like buses. There are services local to me, but for the first few months of the course I did stay in the accommodation that were available for us. This wasn't the best experience for me, but I think that was mainly down to COVID and the restrictions on socialising, and I didn't really get to meet many people, but I think if I got to do that again it would be a very different experience and a much more positive experience.
Well, I stayed local, so about 20 minutes away from my house, and so for that reason I stayed at home, just because it's cheaper and don't have to pay for accommodation, only have to pay for travel, and even then my dad's amazing and runs me in, so I'm not paying too much for travel either. So yeah, it's just sort of savings and costs and stuff like that.
So I stayed local. I stayed at home given the fact that obviously where college and the uni is like very close to my house anyway, so that wasn't a problem. I stayed home, which was another like added benefit. I was, well, what's the word? Yes, I had to isolate during that anyway. So for me, not sort of being in like a huge campus with like thousands of people was like a better solution. We were all online for a bit anyway, so that didn't really make too much of a difference, but yeah.
I stayed local for my course. It was very much a case of I either stay local or I don't go to university, because like I said before, I was not ready to leave home. Still not. I have stayed at home the whole time I've been at university, and I just think it's the best thing for me, and this HE course has allowed you to do that, because you know, half of it has been remote and half it's been in person, so I think staying at home was the best decision to make as well, given the circumstances around the timings of it all.
I stayed local because I was working as well, so couldn't go very far.
I suppose being a mum means you also can't just like bye.
Did you work whilst you're at university, and why?
Yeah, I worked. I've had the same job since I was 16, straight out of school. I stayed at the job because the hours were really, really flexible. So they accommodated the fact I only wanted to do weekends because I was doing either college work or my uni work and stuff. And then it must have been my first year of uni. I got promoted to a manager. So I got a hell of a pay rise, and I got all these skills that could be used in the media, so like first aid trained, all that kind of stuff I can use further down the line. So I was like, yeah, might as well stay with it.
No, I haven't worked during my time at university, and this has allowed me to really focus on the course. But doing the course has really helped me to build my confidence to carry on and hopefully find a job in the industry.
Initially I wasn't, I couldn't find a job, and it was at the beginning of lockdown, so you know, jobs weren't very open. But then I think for the past year I've been working just for a bit of extra cash, just because I've got a student loan, a maintenance loan, but it doesn't really sort of cover a lot. Like, it does sort of last, but it is very much just sort of the bare essentials of food. Every now and then giving my dad some fuel money and public transport if needed. So it's just sort of nice to have a bit of extra cash to spend for myself. So
yeah, makes sense. That's exactly what I do. So I do have a job. I've had the same job for 5 years now since I left school. I work part-time at McDonald's, so I work mainly weekends with the occasional extra shift during the week or extra shifts during school holidays. For me, it was very much a case of I have to work because my student loan goes towards like bills and paying for driving lessons and my car, which is not cheap. So having a job just gives me that extra income. It means I don't have to rely on my parents for money. I'm doing it myself. And it also meant I was able to see what the real world was like in terms of working and balance education and work.
So I worked at the start when the course first started, I was still working at VUE, and I left that sort of within the second year. So my experience with that was, it just became very hard to balance both. Yeah. You've work and do this, so you know what that's all about.
Yeah.
But you're a lot stronger than I am. So I packed it in about a year in, just to fully focus on this.
Yes, it was an apprenticeship course, so it was I was working full time. Part of that time was placements, and part of that time was university, and the rest of the time in my normal workplace.
What was your university experience like? Bearing in mind, please be careful what you say.
Not the greatest. The thought of going back to university fills me with absolute horror. Partly because I think partly because of my age. Yeah. But no, not looking to do it anytime soon.
Well, I'm proud of you for going.
To be fair, I had a really decent university experience. Level 4 and 5 were great. It was because we had most of the campus to ourselves in the evenings because we did all evening classes, so we could run around and make our own films to our heart's content. We had full roam of the college. We just had to let the on-campus security guys know what we were doing. Level 6, a little bit more interesting because it was the first time that the level 6 had been done at the campus I was at, so we were like the guinea pigs for it. There were some issues with it, but we knew that going into it there would be some issues.
Yeah.
But overall it was a really good experience.
So the first year was quite difficult because of COVID, and we were restricted with socialising again, and most of it was online, so that was quite difficult doing a media degree through computers. But the rest of it has been really nice to be able to meet people and have really interested lecturers that are bothered about education. I think on the opposite side of that, there has been some issues with staffing, but I think lots of universities deal with that, with the lack of staff. But I would say it's been mostly positive.
I think overall it was really positive. I wouldn't have changed it. I pretty much enjoyed most of it. There wasn't many times I didn't really like it. I mean, there was a couple of things happen, obviously, but that's like with everything. Yeah. I met some really cool people, and I never thought I'd ever get a degree, to be honest. So I wouldn't change it. I'm glad I did it, and I'd recommend it to anyone that's like looking to do it.
Overall, I think it's been positive. Obviously, there's going to be challenges with any course that you do. But the first one was the first year was about half and half with being in class and being online, which, to be fair, I didn't find too challenging, but it was still a bit of an experience. The second year was all in class, and I think the hardest part was actually working as a class with everyone, just because of the personality types, but it was still a good experience.
My university experience, the 3 years, have been very mixed emotions. I went into the course when we were still on lockdown. So the first half of level 4, aka the first year, was all remote and online, which was an experience in itself. Very fun because we were all in the same position, and we had to adapt projects. Like I made a film via Zoom, which was very fun, very challenging. Would not love to do it again. Level 5 was probably the most normal year I've had in terms of it being all in person. We got to work in both groups and individually. And then level 6, I think, which is the important year because it makes it a bachelor's instead of a foundation, I think has been the toughest year definitely for me, both academically and personally. There was a point where I had to consider whether I was going to come back, and I'm really glad that I did. It's been very mixed because of things like staffing issues, but overall I'm really glad that I've stuck it out, and it's been a really good learning opportunity and fun experience.
If you could give any advice to young people or anyone of any age considering university, what would you say and why?
If you tell someone your course and they say, oh, don't do that, it's not a proper course, you get no experience out of it, ignore them. Do what you want to do. It's your life, it's no one else's life. Just enjoy it. Don't listen to stereotypes like, oh, media's not a proper subject, or don't do art, you'll get nowhere sort of thing. It's what you want to do. You're the one racking up the debt. Make it worth it.
I think if I gave advice for someone thinking about going to university, if you don't have a career in mind and you're not doing a course that will go towards that career, such as nursing or being a doctor or a vet, I'd say make sure you're enjoying the subject you're going into. And if you're having doubts about university, but you think you will benefit from it, I would say go, because the people you meet and the experiences you have are sometimes worth more than the degree you come out with.
I think it would be consider what you're going into. Properly look at the course, the contents, the exam styles, whether it's practical or a lot of essays, a lot of tests, and whether it's suited for you.
Just do it. Just, if you have any like thoughts of doing this course or whatever course it is, or like you have some little itch that you want to scratch because you think you might be interested in something, just give it a go. If it doesn't work out, you don't like it, you can just quit. It's not a big deal. Like, you're still, if I'm talking about a younger generation, you've got the benefit of time by your side. So this is the chance to like try different stuff, see what fits, see what doesn't, and just give it a go. Just jump in with both feet. If it doesn't work out, just try something else. It's not a big deal.
If I could give advice to anyone considering university, I would say ultimately it is your decision to make, nobody else's. Don't let anyone else pressure you into making the decision. Obviously you can hear what other people have to say in terms of their experiences, what they think would work for you, but ultimately it's your decision. So if you want to go, go, and if you don't, don't. And to take in the moment whilst you're in it, because you sign up for a course and go, oh, 3 years, that's ages, and the next thing you know, you're months away from finishing your degree. So just take it in, do the best you can, and ultimately that's all you can do, so don't stress out about it too much.
Think long and hard and make sure that what you are choosing to do you really want to do, because it can be extremely stressful, and if you are not in the right frame of mind to work on the course that you've chosen, it's not going to happen.
As a parent, you've watched 2 kids go through university, both have had very different experiences. What's that been like, watching? Watching
Makes me proud. That hopefully seeing me push myself to go through university helped my kids make that decision.
My dad always played a big part in the reason I went to university. In fact, he was one of the main people that encouraged me to do it and kept encouraging me through level 4 and level 5, you know, through COVID and all of that and all the struggles. And I know just how proud he was, because he was always saying, my daughter does this, my daughter does that. And he was also the main reason my sister went to university as well. And unfortunately, between level 5 and level 6, my dad died very suddenly and unexpectedly. And I did really have to consider going back for level 6, and I'm very glad that I did and that I've made this documentary. And I know that if he was still here with us, he would be in this documentary, just expressing how proud he is of both of his daughters going for university, just like my mum has. So on behalf of me and behalf of him, I dedicate this documentary to him, and I really hope that you have enjoyed watching it and found it useful for either yourself or someone you know, or just find it interesting to watch in general. So thank you for watching.